NBA Countdown live from the Seaport District at Pier 17, brought to you.
We made it!
We did it! We did it! You know why we're all excited? Well, one, because we're together. That's Jalen Rose. That's Jay Will. But I'm telling you, what's the best phrase in sports? Game 7. We got one of those. We also have the Eastern Conference Finals starting out, and it's just Tuesday. So what's going to happen for you this week? It only gets better from here. Let's get them all set up with what to expect in Game 7 first, though, because we'll make our way to the Eastern Conference Finals starting. So after losses in Game 5 and 6, the Clippers are now 0-7 all-time with the chance to clinch a conference finals berth. Those 7 straight losses with an opportunity at the conference finals is the longest streak all time. Meanwhile, the Nuggets have once again forced a Game 7, coming back from 19 points down in Game 6. It's their 4th straight series going all 7 games, the longest streak in NBA postseason history. And now Denver looks to make more history. A win tonight, they'll become the first team in NBA history to come back from a 3-1 series deficit multiple times in a single postseason. But I guess the real question is, and Jalen, we can start with you, is how on earth did the Clippers end up in a Game 7 scenario? They were up by 19.
I'll tell you how they got here. And if the Denver Nuggets win tonight, I really think I'm going to need some counseling.
Okay.
I'm going to need some therapy because I'm too close to this NBA basketball thing. And I have a man crush. And I don't think it's healthy on the Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love him so very much.
I understand.
He plays in the mid-range, shoots off one leg like dirt, can make his teammates around him better. Jay Will passes them open like a great quarterback, shows up in the regular season, shows up in the big game.
Woo, look at that
has
pass.
a chance to eliminate the Los Angeles Clippers, the paper champions, until they advance. If the Joker has 30, 10, and 5 again tonight, the Clippers going home.
And I'll tell you this, they've been exposing Montrezl Harrell. They've been exposing him the whole series. They get him involved in so many ball screens. They put so much pressure on him to help. Joker just pops out, knocks down that three-point shot. Look, Jamal Murray, the Joker, Michael Porter Jr., for as much as he said, and everybody's like, what are you saying? You're a rookie. You shouldn't be outspoken like that. He was speaking facts. Time and situation were a little bit wrong. Made a big-time 3 the game before, stepped up. They have all the pieces. Now, imagine if this team actually had Will Barton. If they actually had Will Barton, they would have more depth. But they have the chance, and all you can ask is to be here. All you can, and like Joker said, I agree with him. All the pressure is on the Clippers. There's no pressure on the Denver Nuggets. Everything is on Kawhi and his legacy.
Well, it's interesting. Doc Rivers, after this game, he's like, look, clearly we have the right formula. He said, I told the team we're not going to be able to dribble the clock out even though we were up 19. They started taking bad shots. He felt like they weren't playing defense. What is the biggest issue you're seeing for the Clippers in this matchup right now?
The biggest issue, Maria, is all season they relied on their depth. And they had 2 guys that could have won 6 Men of the Year, Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams. One of them did. They was giving me 38 points per game. In this series, they're giving me 22 points per game. And as Jay Williams just talked about, being taken advantage of on the defensive side. So when you now see Lou Will, pick and roll. When you see Montrezl, oh, we can finish at the hoop. The Joker isn't intimidated. Now they've taken the strength from the Clippers and they've turned it into a weakness.
Yeah.
Now can Kawhi and Paul George be so very good to overcome the fact that those guys aren't giving you the productivity that they did in the regular season?
J-Ro, this is going to be a challenge for us moving forward, especially if the Denver Nuggets win. And I want you to hold me to something, and I'm going to hold you to it too. Every conversation we have within these confines of ESPN, everybody talks about Kawhi Leonard being the greatest player, right? He's the greatest player on the planet. Okay, I think he's been trending in that direction. If he is, it's time that all of us start holding him to the same standard that we hold LeBron James to, correct? Right? So if they don't get there, can you imagine, like if LeBron and the Lakers didn't get there, even though in a truncated season, even though playing in the bubble, it would have been like, what's wrong with him? Having a top 5 player isn't enough. He got Paul George to join him. He got everything there in LA, everything's set up. It's just time we hold Kawhi Leonard to the same energy that we hold LeBron James to. That's all I'm saying. Tonight is a massive game. He talks that manufacturing your own energy is very important, not having fans there. I know he's emotionless, but you're going to need to see some energy out of him tonight in order for them to conquer this Game 7.
This is the only time I'm going to ask y'all this question. Who wins Game 7?
Oh, the Clippers.
Clippers.
All right, well, that was
I have no other choice but to say the Clippers, J-Ro.
I was trying to think of something fast, bro.
Jamal Murray
no
already
choice.
told you
That
the
just
media has
happened.
been hating on the Nuggets the entire time, so he's not even worried about it.
What do they know?
I got to ride with the Clippers until I see them walk to the tunnel with their heads down.
Okay, well, we still got some time to talk about this game because it is game one of our doubleheader. We've got the Heat and the Celtics, game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. Everyone looks like their hair is shaped up. So
When
they're
you're
ready to
watching
roll.
football or basketball, drink a shot of your favorite beverage every time you hear the word Jalen. I tried it this weekend. It was actually really fun.
Jalen Ramsey, Jalen Brown.
NBA Countdown is presented by Mountain Dew, official sponsor of the NBA.
The Finals MVP and the only player on the Heat roster drafted in the top 10. That's a note that we're going to keep pushing throughout this Eastern Conference Finals. But now, it's time for tonight's first hologram interview, powered by AT&T 5G.
So, Dre, you've been in the Western Conference Finals 5 straight years, so you decided that you wanted to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. How's this journey been?
Yeah, it's quite interesting, and you've been through it, in your years with Boston and then transitioning out of there. For me, it was, just trying to get accustomed to the Heat culture, which wasn't hard, I'm used to getting my work in, especially in the weight room, and being one of those guys that does the little things right and putting the extra, effort in on both ends of the floor, getting really comfortable with my teammates.
Jimmy says you guys aren't underdogs. This team never seems to be fazed by any opponent. Where does that confidence come from, man?
I think it's just the work we put in. To be quite honest, the Heat culture, I think they instill that confidence in all their players. And you get that confidence once you've gone through that gauntlet of workouts, training camp. They put you in that mud and put you in situations, outside the game and practice. When you get to the game, it's like a cakewalk. You really talk about a guy like Tyler Hero where he hasn't been phased and he's a rookie. And that's the perfect scenario you want your young guys to be in. Confident, but they earn that confidence. And I think we all kind of feel like we earned it. So when we go out there, we feel like we're the favorite.
Now, look, when I think of these Golden State teams you played on, I think great defense, great shooting. When I think of this Heat team, I think the same thing. What are the similarities and the differences between the two?
Well, I think with this team, you don't quite have that, explosive guy like a Steph Curry, but you have a guy like Bam Adebayo. Well, I'm not comparing the two, but you have a guy like Bam who offensively, he's like, kind of has a Draymond skill set, being able to pass the ball. He'll go a lot of games where he's leading the team in assists, but at the same time, he's this huge threat at the rim. And then you got a guy like Jimmy who, they talk about three-pointers, he gets to the free throw line. And Goran Dragic has had an amazing playoff series for us. But I also think about the main similarity is the depth. People tend to forget about the depth of both teams. We call it strength in numbers with the Warriors, and here, we're going 9-10 deep. You're seeing Tyler Hero come off the bench for some big games for us. You're talking about Kendrick Nunn, Kelly Olynyk. He's coming in having 11 points in an 8-minute span. Derrick Jones Jr., we haven't seen a guy jump like him since Vince Carter.
Derrick Jones with an emphatic finish.
I just want to say good luck, but I'm rooting for the Celtics.
Yeah, but you know what it is, man. I'm not allowed to say this as a Heat because y'all had y'all battles, but I spoke to you in our great battles with when I was in Philly. Man, I always looked up to you. You was the guy that was on my DVD every summer who I was studying, breaking down all his moves. So, you're a big influence on my career. Even in Kansas, I go all the way back to Kansas, man, when I was in middle school watching you play. So,
oh, man.
Appreciate you, fam.
All right, y'all can beam me up. I'm out of the bubble.
What?
Paul said, you watching me in middle school, man. Get me out of here.
Get me out of here. I'm done with you.
I'm done with you.
Why can't we beam Uncle P into the studio? That's the only question.
I heard he may be coming this weekend.
Yeah.
You heard that, fam? Uncle P's coming to the
We
studio.
miss you, brother. Great job on the interview.
Great job.
Yes, we appreciate you. And Andre Iguodala for sitting down with Uncle P, kind of, with the hologram. We'll beam him up and make sure he comes down to show up on the set. Okay, guys, I want to talk to you about the three-point performance tonight presented by Mountain Dew because we've seen a lot of threes coming your way, and we're going to see even more in Game 7. The Nuggets shot 58% on three-pointers in their second-half comeback against the Clippers in Game 6, and that's their best three-point field goal percentage in any half this postseason. The Joker, your guy, we might need therapy for Jalen. We've got Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals coming your way. Jimmy Butler, you guys know his story.
Vote.
Hopeless at 13. no Division I scholarships. Went to a JUCO in Tyler, Texas, then to Marquette, then was a first-round pick, and that's why he's the player we see today on the court. What do you notice about him?
Well, Jimmy Butler just plays at a different level, and plus the continuity that this team plays with. Like they average 25.8 assists per game. That ranks 5th in the NBA. And they do so much action. Eric Spoelstra is one of the most underappreciated coaches there is in the game of basketball. They run so many pin downs, double pin downs, flare screens for guys like Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. Their continuity is what keeps them involved actively, offensively, and it makes it difficult to guard. So how does Boston guard this team who is so good at spacing the floor is going to be the main question.
Maria, two of my favorite players that you should never judge by the stat sheet are in this series. Jimmy Butler and Marcus Smart. They do so many things to affect winning and willing their teams to win on both ends of the floor and always are up for the challenge defensively.
Well, Rose, how about this? The Miami Heat during the regular season, 20% of their possessions were playing zone defensively. Playing zone defensively. So think about what we saw Nick Nurse and the Toronto Raptors do against the Celtics. They played box and one. They gave them a multitude of different looks. They made them think. Expect Eric Spoelstra to do the same thing throughout this series.
Yeah, and we know that Jason Tatum, I mean, he is ascending astronomically. I don't even know how to define what we've been seeing from him throughout this postseason. How would you define what we need to continue to see against the Heat?
Improving his game. Last year in the NBA, he was one of the 5th worst at isolations. Now he's in the top 10 at being effective at that play. He improved his game, working out with the late, great Kobe Bryant, getting in the gym. Now when he goes one-on-one, you're in trouble.
They get him involved in so much action. They catch you off guard defensively. Jimmy Butler's going to take this challenge tonight. He's going to guard Jason Tatum. And look for him to stay in one pocket or the other and force him one way. Only give him one direction. Always funnel him into the gaps for help.
I think that stat is telling. 15-1 when Jaylen Brown scores 25, because there's a given we're going to get it from Jason Tatum. But when Jaylen Brown shows up, the Celtics are on fire.
They're a budding dynamic duo. I've called them the Los Angeles Clippers of the East.
Facts.
The version of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. They're two-way performers. They get you 20-plus points. They guard multiple positions, and they compete with a level of tenacity on a nightly basis that you can rely on.
All right, Kemba Walker is shooting 28% from 3 this postseason. What do we need to see from Kemba?
I wonder who Kimba's going to guard. Who is Kemba going to guard? If you put Kemba on the likes of Dragic, how is he going to handle that? Dragic is going to involve him in a lot of pick and rolls. If you try to put him on a shooter, or Tyler Hero, or Duncan Robinson, they're going to run him off. I mean, look, coming off this last series, I watched Wesley Matthews chase around Duncan Robinson, and they exerted so much energy. So if you put him on a shooter with all the cross screens that they run, it's going to take a lot of energy away from Kemba on the offensive end.
Well, I would like to exert some energy from Team Countdown.
Flowers.
Congratulations, Maria Taylor. Thank you for your intellect, your beauty, and your class through all situations, and covering your first Monday Night Football game, and covering your first NBA Finals.
No, we all right. We all get tested. We get tested every week.
I love
Maria,
y'all so much.
You are so incredible at what you do, and I love the way you clap back at people that come to you with ignorance. So thank you for continuing to be that example that we need.
Thank you, y'all. Appreciate it. Don't make me cry.
Absolutely.
On this set,
And some people turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
We eye for an eye.
We're eye for an eye. Don't come for the queen.
You heard that. You know who we're talking about.
How much time do we have left in this?
I don't know.
Well, congratulations, well-deserved, and thank you for being a terrific role model.
Thank you, I appreciate
In this
it.
industry, it's really tough to do what you do on a daily basis, juggle the attitudes and the egos in a male-dominated industry, but yes, still be a shining star.
Thanks. Let's
Future
talk about
is yours. We're just happy to be here.
Give us the stars for tonight, guys. Who do we think is walking away with this Game 1 win?
I'm going with the Miami Heat. I'm doubling down. I'm tripling down. If there was a fantasy basketball coaching draft, I would take Eric Spoelstra. I thought about that. He's coached OGs like the Big Three. He's developed players like Kendrick Nunn, resurrected players like Goran Dragic, and now we see Jimmy Butler leading his team with that attitude. I'm going Miami Heat in Game 1.
I'm doubling down on your take on the Miami Heat. I'm going Miami Heat in Game 1. I'm going Miami Heat in 6.
Ooh, you're surprising
I'm going
me.
Miami Heat in 6. I know Paul will probably blow a gasket right now.
He is right now, as we
By
speak.
saying that?
He's bad. His hologram is in here now.
I just think that the biggest gift to Miami is that they had that 3.5-month break. Because remember, they were getting tired, guys. Sustaining this level of play. And I know that you're talking about the two best defensive teams left in the Eastern Conference. But the way the Miami Heat defend, their attention to detail, I think it's going to be a difference maker.
But you know what has to happen, Maria? Bam got to be dominant.
I was going to say that.
So up front, the Celtics are smallish. Sometimes Jaylen Brown will get those minutes. Sometimes Smart will get the defensive assignment. Obviously, Tice when he's in the game. They're going to need Bam to be dominant up front if they're going to make us look smart.
Agree with you.
I hope they make you guys look smart because you made me happy today. So I like you today, and I like Jalen today. These are
Our
my
pleasure.
kings, and we'll be
Our
here
pleasure.
at halftime of this first game of the Eastern Conference Finals. For now, get on out to Orlando.
That boy can sing. That boy's good. He can sing.
They like, that's
away,
why we
Mark
never
Jones.
make all-black shows.
All right, Maria, you know the Boston Celtics are a franchise steeped in history. They've got 17 championship banners hanging in TD Garden, their arena. The Miami Heat, they scoff at history, even though they have 3 NBA titles of their own. In this battle between two teams in the Eastern Conference Championship, Boston and Miami. And welcome, everyone, to NBA Courtside, presented by Pandora. They bleed green all the way from Orlando up to Boston. Here's a look at the playoffs. In the East, Miami defeating Milwaukee in 5 games. Toronto losing to Boston in a grueling 7-game series that concluded just seemingly hours ago. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones, chopping it up with Doris Burke. Malika Andrews joining us in just a bit. Doris, this is a rematch of the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals that the Heat won in 7 games. What do you expect in this series here? What are you looking forward to?
I think this is going to be great. 2 really hard-playing, excellent defensive teams. Boston probably has the greater number of individual scorers, but it's the sum of the collection of parts that makes Miami special. I think this is going to be a long, hard series.
Interesting. There's no 1 or 2 seed here. The Heat came into the series as the number 5 seed. Boston, the number 3 seed. Jimmy Butler's matchup with T.J. Warren in the first round wasn't a matchup at all, as the Heat put a broom job on the Pacers 4-0. And then the Behemoths, Milwaukee, the best team in the basketball, up next. And they were indecorously sent home for the summer by Jimmy Butler and the Heat. So when you look at Jimmy Butler, his head coach, Eric Spoelstra, says he's not the type of person to get sick at sea. He's the alpha dog on this team.
He is always unfazed, regardless of the moment or where a series stands, and he gives everybody around him confidence. The numbers are north of what they were in the regular season. He has always been an outstanding closer, but what he gives this team is a guy who understands situations. So you're under duress, you've got to go and score with the length of the floor. So do you panic with 2.6 seconds simply because you're that far beyond the three-point arc? No, you understand you've got plenty of time. This is a guy who embraces challenges. He's been dynamic in the paint and getting to the free throw line. That was against the Defensive Player of the Year. And for all intents and purposes, when the game is most important, this guy is the de facto point guard. He has been special on so many levels for this team.
Interesting matchups in this series. He's going to be staring down at some point Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics, who during the last series especially, and actually during the playoffs, Doris, has really elevated his play to elite status. This is miraculously his 2nd Eastern Conference Finals already for him.
What must it be like to be 22 years of age and at the peak of your profession? He's already an all-star, and because of the work habits, he's still got so much area for growth. To me, this is one area of big improvement. Playmaking for his teammates. The mid-range game has always been there, but now he takes it out only in the moments that it must happen. The development from 3 has been absolutely critical to his game, but I think this will take fans by surprise. He is number 1 in effective field goal percentage against. He is elite on both ends. It would be negligent, though, if we do not mention Jaylen Brown, just 23 years of age himself. Look at the numbers in game 5, 6, and 7, 26, 10, and 3 steals. Both men are a problem for the Miami Heat.
Big part of the future for the Celtics. Brown could have easily been an Eastern Conference All-Star as well. A mercurial talent with all kinds of ability. Bam Adebayo, meanwhile, the Miami Heat, his head coach says he is one of the most unique talents in basketball right now. And boy, what do you say about Marcus Smart? His contribution going well beyond the stat sheet for the Boston Celtics, in particular a key block against Toronto that got them to this place. When we come back, Malika will chop it up.
And the Heat have been torching opponents. After an average showing in the seeding games where Miami was missing several key players, they went on and took care of the Pacers in the first round of the playoffs in just 4 games. And then they knocked off the 1-seeded Milwaukee Bucks in 5 games in the semifinals. And Jimmy Butler has been a big part of that, averaging 19.8 points against Indiana and 23.4 against the Bucks. Not to mention, he's been on fire and essential down the stretch. But now he's entering new territory. Believe it or not, this is the first time that Butler has ever played in a conference finals. And now I am joined by Jimmy Butler as he starts warming up for his first conference finals. And Jimmy, this Celtics team has so many offensive options, but you've told me time and time again that this is about you and your team. So in that spirit, how do you approach defending so many threats?
As a team, you know, we got to do everything right. Damn near perfect. I think we're capable of it, but it's definitely going to take almost a perfect game, 48 minutes of it.
Almost a perfect game. And at this point in your career, you've accomplished a lot, and you tend to step into big moments with swagger, but you've never been in a conference finals before. So how do you go about leading your team when you're also in a new position?
The same way I always have. I have the most confidence in my guys. They have the most confidence in me. That's all that matters. This is nothing new to any of us. We've been practicing this every single day for the past, I don't know how many months. So we're ready to go.
Thank you so much, Jimmy.
Thank you.
I like your shirt. Vote. We will have tip-offs and starting lineup coming up right after this.
Tatum pulls back, 3-pointer, pucks it in. Steal by Butler, and he slams it on the other end. Brown, the two-handed jam. Hero lobs it, and a foul smashes it. Are you kidding?